Alrighty, welcome in Play-by-Play Rugby with you on a Friday morning today. It's been a bit busy week, but we will get one out for you, a bit of a weekend preview pod. The Lions are here, plenty to get stuck into. Jordan Hughes with you alongside just Tyler Campbell this morning. Jordan Lack had to work today and TC on holidays. How are you, brother?
Yeah, it's been good. Obviously, school holidays and been a good week, so feeling pretty good. And unfortunately, Physio Diddy couldn't make the appearance because he's on the tools today and working on his craft.
Working for free, as he
Working
does.
for free, yeah, on his little, what do they call it, placement.
Yeah.
But he's coming to the back end of that physio degree, so I'm sure he'll be stoked to be getting through that and getting it done.
Bloody earth. So we'll get into a lot to cover today. The Lions are here. They've played a few games. New Zealand squad for the French this weekend. QPR, the boys had a win on the weekend. Big one tomorrow as well. But before we get into it, you might have seen on the socials early in the week, bit of a nice little step for us. We're doing a live watch-along broadcast for the Wallabies' first test, the Wallabies in Fiji, on Sunday, live from 1 p.m. on my YouTube page. So what that looks like is basically it's going to be Jordan, Lanack, Tyler and myself sitting in the studio up in Brizzy, full decked out. We're going to have a man on the ground in Newcastle calling guests coming in. You can text along the way. Going to give all the gambling picks, stats you need to know. Plenty going on. So live from 1 p.m, Wallabies in Fiji. Tyler, should be good. Something different?
Yeah, a bit of a change up, a bit of a step hopefully in the right direction as we continue to sort of do this potty. And really looking forward to the test as well. I think it's obviously, Fiji have improved a lot over the last few years, and I think it's a good chance for Australia to sort of test themselves, test some combinations, and test a bit of shape they're looking to use going into those three games against the Lions.
Yeah, very exciting. So basically, we want to be your second screen on Sunday afternoon, live from 1 p.m. on the YouTube page, powered by Double Take Sports Productions, who have been very helpful along the journey. So there's plenty to come on that as well. So look out for Sunday afternoon. All right, Tyler, let's get into it. The Lions are here, mate. We've been two games. We're lucky, obviously. I was over in Perth seeing that one. You boys are at the Reds one. Before we get into the deep dive into the games, what have you made of them so far on the outset?
Obviously there was a hiccup early against Argentina, which I sort of predicted because it is hard when you put a lot of players like that together. Yes, there's a lot of talent, probably a more talented team than Argentina, but cohesion goes a long way. And we sort of saw on the last two games, they look like they're finding their rhythm a little bit. I thought in the first half of the Reds, they probably still struggled to get that cohesion, but second half, they were on fire. So they're looking good. They're looking like a tough team to beat. And the scary thing is they're only going to get better. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how the next couple of weeks look, and a few injuries and whatnot sort of affected them already. But looking forward, I just think it's going to be a great three tests.
Yeah, they're looking really sharp. Good point you made there. In both of the games so far, they've sort of struggled that first 30 minutes, but then the second half, they're 64 to none. No one's conceded a point against them in the second half so far. So they are looking the goods. Let's start in the West. The Western 4-7, the Lions 54. 46,000 Optus Stadium. Being there on the ground was pretty cool, to be honest. It was red jerseys everywhere in the pubs and whatnot. 21-7 at halftime. I guess, what'd you make of that?
Yeah, like Force obviously came out. There's obviously a lot of emotion, I guess, or for a Super Rugby side, because you're getting a chance to play the Lions. And it's probably a little bit more in that because we get them once every 12 years. And some people don't even have 12-year-long Super Rugby careers. Yeah. So to be in there at that point and get that chance to play the Lions, obviously the emotions are high. You're kind of playing with that attitude, like you got nothing to lose. You lose the game, no one's going, oh, you lost the game. It's like if you win it, it's massive. If you lose it, it's like, oh, you still got to play them. So you've sort of seen them come out and attack early and have a go. And but yeah, I just think the Lions will just show their class and quality of players in the sort of key moments and back end of games at the moment.
The Force, they had their chances to score points. Like, they're looking all right. They just couldn't hold on to the ball, and then they drop it, and then Mac Hansen would go the length and whatnot. So, but Dylan Peach, he was impressive. Matt Greeley, obviously friend of the pod now. I thought he played really well as well. From the Australian point of view, who stood out?
I actually agree with that. I thought Peach was good. I thought Greeley did well. I thought the back three from the Force. Yeah. Even Donaldson had a pretty solid game, and in the pack, I thought Darcy did pretty well. Mm-hmm. It's pretty tough. Like watching the Reds game and being there, I was like 5 rows back, obviously from the field, had pretty good seats. The size difference, right? They were a big side. Yeah. They were a lot bigger than the Reds, and I don't think the Force are bigger than the Reds either. So they kind of use their size pretty well.
Let's get to it now. The Lions on Wednesday night, 52-12. It's a pretty similar scoreline in the end. At Suncorp Stadium, you were there. 47,000, I believe, were in the house.
Yeah, close to.
How was the atmosphere at Suncorp?
Look, I'd say it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Probably not as much as you're going to get in these test matches.
Yeah.
Normally the Barmy Army's a bit louder.
So I've heard the Lions army been pretty quiet. So I didn't hear many Lions chants in Perth. Did you hear anything in
we had a
Brisbane?
couple in the Reds game. Maybe they're still all coming over.
Yeah.
Because I remember in 2017 when they went over to play New Zealand, I was over there at the time, and they were outrageously loud.
Yeah.
To be fair, they were good value in the Caxton post game.
Yeah.
School holidays means I was able to dabble in the Caxton a bit longer than I normally would on a weeknight.
Lovely.
But, they had some good value there. There was guys, they had like an Air Force group that'd come. They were wearing like blazers.
Yeah.
They were here for the first 3.5 weeks.
So good.
They were good value. So, no, they're starting to build their little support crowd, and I think they're going to get louder and louder as it goes on. I think as the games get closer too, they're probably a bit louder in the first half than the second half.
So the chat, while I was talking to some guys over in Perth, that apparently a lot of the tour groups haven't arrived yet.
Yeah.
So they're still coming in hot for those big matches. So good to see. What was the crowd like when Josh Fluke scored? That would have been a pretty... Did everyone erupt? That would have been a cool moment.
Originally, no, because no one kind of worked out what had happened.
True,
Because it was quite
It was a sort of sporadic.
off-the-cuff, sporadic kind of try. And we're like, oh, did he score that? You hear everyone go, oh, yeah, and like celebrate, but then go quiet and sort of wait for that TMO call. And then, there's a bit of noise, but, it's never the same post-TMO, if that makes sense.
True, yeah.
You sit there and wait, and then the try gets awarded. You kind of, fist pump rather than in the moment when the try is scored guaranteed. Like, you probably get a bit more noise and a bit more celebration.
So 21-12 at halftime. The Reds were in the fight, that's for sure. But the Lions, as you said, showed their class. Our first look at Gibson Park and Finn Russell in the halves. What did you make of them?
Outstanding. One thing watching it, I generally, even at halftime, I can't remember who I was speaking to. It might have been Van, our coach last year from Bond.
Yeah, Ben Humphries.
Yeah, I think it was him, and I was like, this game's going to blow out.
Yeah.
And it was just watching it. There was a lot of bombed tries from the Lions in that first half. And it just came down to continuity and just getting that timing right on things. But Finn Russell's ability to sort of play flat, ball goes in front of him, and then to create that extra man on a backdoor. He goes real late, and they just do those little short passes and get him behind. They're very good at it, and it's something if I was the Wallabies, I'd be looking at on like in a defensive term, like how are we going to be able to defend this and stop them creating those extra men. 'Cause a couple of times they created a 2-3 man overlap just from late backdoors, going square and then changing their lines late. So something that probably needs to be looked at. But the biggest thing that impressed me about the Lions is their defense. Probably got a better view of it being at the game than you do on TV. But their ability to get sort of spacing and sort of play in their channels, but then get two men into the collision. Like they just dominate collisions. Like I think there was a point where the Reds started on the 22 and they went 4 phases and they were back behind the half. Just from their line speed, 2 men in the collision, those two will slow down the ball and the next two fill straight back in and they just keep their spacing, go again. And like it's going to be a tough one for the Wallabies to sort of solve that problem.
It's hard to build momentum against that, isn't there?
Yeah, and it honestly comes down to getting a dominant ball carry.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting the Wallabies will be looking, if I'm looking forward, at guys like, I guess, Dongarden would be one, Filippo.
Yep.
I think he's someone that can help them get over that gain line. Valentini, obviously. I think they're going to need big ball carriers in that squad.
Yep, absolutely. So Russell and Gibson Park, you think that'll be their 9-10 for first test? Is that how you see it? Yeah.
I can't see it being anyone else. I think they're the best. I thought Finn Smith did all right when he came on, actually. But I think Finn Russell's just a class act and probably one of the top 3 10s in the world at the moment.
Yep. Let's go outside backs. Hugh Jones and Vandermerve. I saw some of them on the post-match. God, they're massive men.
Oh, that's what I mean. The Lions are so much bigger than the Reds.
Yeah.
Like even in the backs, like between Bundy, Hugh Jones, even Tommy Freeman's quite a big guy. He sits like 6'2". Like he's not as bulked, but he's also still quite a big guy.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. And that try from Hugh Jones, Tim Ryan, he's got a bit of... He's 100.
I did not realise he had that much toe.
Yeah.
And someone said it in the crowd. It might have been Spence or someone behind me because Lockie Anderson's quick.
Yeah.
Tim Ryan's quick and Jock Campbell's quick. And they didn't ever look like actually catching him.
No, didn't get near him.
It's a bit of a scare. He could be one that I think leapfrogs Ringrose in that 13 jersey.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, for sure. And obviously a New Zealand man, Bundy Aki. You still confident he's the 12 for them?
Yeah, look, I don't think he actually had his best game. A couple of little short passes didn't come off, but his carries, outstanding. The way he gets them over the gain line and gets their attack going, and his ball playing's very underrated.
Yeah.
Some of the backdoors he was throwing to Finn Russell, he wasn't even really looking. He was just putting the ball in the spot, and it was obviously it's a bit confusing for the defence when your 12's going real flat into the line and able to pull out like that.
Yep. Last one, the Lions so far. Young Pollard, he's putting his hand up. He's just a character, a little chip and chase against the Force. I don't think he played against the Reds.
No, he
did
didn't.
But he's looking good.
He's just a footy player.
Yeah.
I know people kind of use this term thing, but there's certain players that, Artie's one of them. Mm-hmm. They can do it all. They're just good rugby players, and it doesn't matter where you play them, they're going to perform. And he's been really good. But in saying that, I thought Jack Morgan was outstanding on Wednesday night. So it'll be interesting to see how that battles, and it'd be nice to see at least one Welshman in there.
Yeah, something, because obviously they lost Thomas Williams for injury. So, yeah, Jack Morgan playing the goods. All right, we'll move on to some other stuff for the Lions. We'll get into the weekend previews, but, yeah, it's scary hours there. They're looking real sharp. Okay, so let's go to some news. The big one overnight, Owen Farrell, mate. He's been called in. Elliot Daly injured, Thomas Williams gone. How do they use Farrell? What does he add here?
First thing off the bat is he adds experience. Obviously, I said Finn Russell's the 10, but you get someone like Owen Farrell, like Finn Smith and Marcus Smith are quite young still.
Yes.
It's their first tour. Oh, no, Marcus Smith played the last one, didn't he? Well, he went on the tour.
Yeah.
But he obviously gives them someone to get knowledge off and gives you almost like an extra coach out there. I think they use him in a 10-12 role, maybe more towards a 12 role, I think. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's 20 in the 22 jersey come the first test.
Is there any world where we see Russell at 10, Farrell at 12 for a test?
I don't think you can. I think with Bundy, Arki there, and Tui Pulutu there, I just don't think either of those guys, or one of them is going to have to miss out. I can't see both of them missing out.
Yeah, okay. Very interesting stuff. So it's all like a tour. People come and go. It's people come in. So
only thing with Owen Farrell is he has not played test match footy the last 2 years.
True.
And I think that's a big difference in what they're trying to achieve. You need guys that are hardened for test football. You look at sort of the, I've seen it before, you see guys leave Super Rugby and come back, like on their sabbatical, come back and they're not the same at test level because they need time to build up that sort of physicality and speed of it.
Yep.
And everyone will tell you that, like, that's played at that level, that test level footy is so much faster than your Super Rugbies, your top 14s, whatever comp you're playing in. So I think he's going to need to play a couple of matches. So, but depending how he goes, he might not be up to the sort of standard of it at the moment. Yeah,
we'll see. And then other news, Tyler, the Australian-New Zealand Invitational team is taking shape. We're seeing some big names announced. So some of them for you. Painga Mosa, Shannon Frizzell, Pete Samu, Falau Fakatava, Marika Korobiti, David Havili, Lamapi, and Sean Stevenson so far. So we're seeing a bit of a 15 starting to mould here. Happy with those sort of guys from New Zealand, firstly?
Yeah, like Shooter, for example, has probably been one that's been very unlucky not to be an All Black, solely off the fact of the depth we have in our back three in New Zealand.
Yep.
Obviously a lot of talent in that position, and he's one that sort of performed every year, but hasn't quite had his crack as an All Black. Havili, it's a good chance for him to put his hand up again.
Yep.
Show that he is ready for test rugby. Like, obviously, always played well in Super, hasn't quite made that step at a test level. So that's a good selection there. Fakatava, I think, is one that sort of lost a bit of form. Found it again this year, but is now stuck behind 3 good halfbacks. So be good to see him get a performance and hopefully creep his way back into the All Blacks. But because he's sort of at that brink now, whether he goes the Tongan route. Frizzell, obviously.
Well, you think he could be coming back to Super at some stage? Just might be a bit of a first look.
I thought he might be coming back to Moana with Nani.
Yeah, so we'll see. And obviously Pete Samu, back from his... they went down in that grand final in top 14, but he'll be pushing for...
I'm very surprised he's playing in this.
Yeah, you thought he might be a first test guy?
I think he'll be named in. He'd be named in next week's Wallabies squad.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll see. So he gets a chance to play back in Australia. So look at that backline, Tyler. Falau Fakatava, probably a 9. Korobiti on 1 week. Havili and Lamapi in the centres.
I think they play Havili at the back.
Oh, fifth. What about Stevenson on the wing?
On the wing.
Yeah, okay.
Because I've heard whispers that Karevi and O'Connor have been running around at the Reds in training, so they could be next in.
Yeah.
I just... Like, Havili's not really a 13 and neither's Nani. Like, they're both kind of genuine 12s, whereas Havili has that option to play 15.
Yeah.
So I could see him get pushed back and Nani goes into that 12 jersey. But if Karevi's there, it changes it again. So, like, you got to have your best out there.
Well, thinking on Karevi, I was reading that apparently his insurance fees for this game was like $1 million. or something for the Japanese rugby, and I think Rugby Australia said no.
Oh, so he might not be
I don't
playing.
think he's going to be playing. Could be wrong, but O'Connor though, he might slide in that 10 jersey. You'd think?
Yeah, I think O'Connor will get a crack at that 10 jersey.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's actually taking shade to a decent looking side now.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see who comes out in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Wallabies are releasing any players down
I
to
reckon they
this.
will. Yeah.
So if they release a couple, it might give us a bit more of where everyone plays. But
Yeah.
very, very solid team.
And then the Pacifica team as well. We've seen Curtly Beale's going to be in that side. He missed out in the Force game through injury. He's a big one. Who else have we seen in that?
Wouldn't be surprised to see a few of the boys playing in this Oz NZ play in both. If you just talked about insurance,
Yeah.
like I think the insurance might. But normally it covers both games.
Yeah.
So you might see a few crossover. Like obviously Fakatava's got his Tongan heritage.
Yep.
Frizzell I think is also Tongan. Don't quote me on that. Stevenson's obviously got his Samoan and Māori roots, so he's another one that can come across. Havili, name says it all. So those guys I think might be playing in both.
Beale, Charlie Gamble is in that Pacifica team. Aboriginal heritage. There's a couple others that are escaping.
I'm assuming you'd see an Andy Muirhead.
Yeah, sorry, here's one. Yep, another one. Good call. So they'll be in the mix as well. So that'll be a good game on the Tuesday, I think, before leading up to the second test match, I believe, in Melbourne. All right, let's go to a bit of a weekend preview. There's actually heaps of rugby on around the world.
New Zealand rugby has 4 games in a row on Saturday.
Oh, they've got the women's as well, eh?
They go 20s, women's, Maldives, and then All Blacks.
Just on the 20s. You see Australia put 70 on them?
This is not the most South African thing ever.
Oh, it's just like, they drew them 2 weeks ago.
No, they beat them.
No, they drew.
They drew with New Zealand.
Oh, didn't they drew with South Africa? Oh,
They beat South Africa, but New Zealand beat South Africa by more, so they won the championship.
In South Africa as well. And then they go to Italy and they do that.
But this is the most South African thing ever. They always sort of hold back and prepare for a World Cup.
Yeah.
They do it
Across the board.
across the board, and they just come out and they look quick.
Yeah.
They were fast.
Man, and I don't know if you noticed over the last maybe decade, Australian under-20s teams, we just can't perform at that World Cup. Every year
We're not getting into the system. I'll talk for 2 hours.
Yeah, Tyler loves this chat. All right, let's talk about your men, New Zealand. $1.07 against a very weak French side, $7.50. Justin Marshall's sort of come out, he's pretty off it about all this, about the squad they're bringing over. Do you have a take on it?
Yeah, I do think it is a little bit disrespectful. But at the same time, New Zealand's now in a spot where that's come out that you can't lose these tests.
Yeah.
You've got to go make a statement if you're saying it's disrespectful.
Yeah.
Prime example is DuPont, like obviously been a pretty big glazer of him. Think he's a world-class act, but he's played 1 game in the Southern Hemisphere in his career.
Yeah.
Like, that's outrageous. Like, for someone that's meant to be a renowned world rugby player, you've got to be doing it around the world.
Well, he's injured now, isn't he?
Yeah, at the moment.
ACL?
ACL.
Yeah.
But, like, that's just... I just think New Zealand and Australia and everyone always take their best teams overseas. Like, you kind of need to return the favour, because it's not just a rugby thing. Like, if you're someone that's living in New Zealand and, you know, you are a big French fan, what's the wing, like Tony Ramos, Berry, like all those guys.
Yeah.
How cool would it been to have gone and seen them?
Seen them, for sure.
Like, if you're living in New Zealand, because if you're a big rugby fan like we are, and we watch these guys regularly, it would be nice to be able to go see that live.
Yeah, 100%.
So it is a little bit disappointing they haven't done that. And
well, especially because a lot of people would have bought tickets ages ago, expecting this to be a French team, and I'm sure they weren't cheap.
the only one I really know is the 12, the captain.
Gail Fiku, I'm the same.
Yeah.
I legit don't recognise any other names. So let's get into it. On the All Black side, mate, you've seen their first team. Fabian Holland gets his first start. Leo Willie, Ollie Norris, Triple C Cariffi. What did you make of the squad?
Really liked it.
Yep.
And looking at the squad, and people were probably a bit funny about Tupou Vai being a 6. What people don't understand is, yes, he plays second row, but he's extremely athletic. He kind of plays like a 6 when he's playing second row. He hits hard. We've seen some of the big hits he's put on this year in Super Rugby.
Yeah.
He's very good with the ball in hand, and he's a big body. But you add to that Fabian Holland in the second row. He's 6'8" and 130 kilos or something, 125 kilos. And if I'm looking at that squad, I think we're preparing for those first tests against South Africa, where we've probably lost the physicality battle the last couple of years. So I think they're looking to sort of bolster that pack, make it a little bit bigger, and trying to provide 6 and see how it goes. So we're probably the biggest... sorry.
It's a big pack, isn't it?
All Black pack I've seen in a while. It would have been bigger, I think, again, if Wallace Satiti was at 8. and
Yeah.
Tamati Williams was at 1. That would have changed the whole size of the pack again. So it's good to see we're going with a big pack. It's just now whether we can play that physical game, but I think still give our backs the opportunity to play because big fan of Rico on the wing too.
Yeah, we'll touch on that. We spoke when the squad came out. Wasn't that many designated wingers. Rico and Reese will be the 2 wingers. Happy with that?
Yeah, I am. Look, a lot of people will see it as a negative for Rico, but I'm pretty sure he'll be there relishing the opportunity to wear the black jersey again.
Yeah.
He gets a lot of hate, and probably a lot of it is unwarranted, and a lot of it, I think, sometimes is that tall poppy syndrome.
But he's a world-class winger. Like, he's unreal in the wing.
Yeah, and he got moved into 13, and we can't sit here and say he's been awful. No. He's arguably one of the better defensive 13s because of his pace.
Yeah.
Now he gets to go back on the wing, and I think he's going to want to sort of put his hand up and make a statement, but it's also, on the flip side, I think there's a lot of pressure on Proctor. Everyone's been pushing for him to get into that 13 jersey. I think he's got the skill set to do it.
Yeah.
I think he's really good at sort of setting up his outsides, and he's good defensively, but he's got to have a performance here because a lot of people have been sort of pushing for him to get that nod, and if he doesn't perform, then it's going to create some interesting conversations.
He will. Bowden Barrett, 10 over D-Mac. Maybe a surprise. He was the incumbent last year. Damn.
Yeah. Well, Bodie sort of got the nod back into the year. Look, it's hard on D-Mac because we know the X factor he brings, but also he's possibly could be the best 22 in the world.
That sucks for him, but yeah.
Yeah, and I kind of see it. He can be that impact player when clock's running out, we've got 20 minutes left, and you need someone to come bring a spark and bring a bit of electricity.
Yeah.
That's what he is. So it's a tough one. I thought he might have got first crack after his Super Rugby form this season, but I still think he'll be another one relishing the opportunity to wear the black jersey again.
And final one for you, Geordie Barrett straight into that 12 jersey. You called that months ago. Obviously, he's been playing overseas. Happy with this?
He wasn't just playing overseas.
Yeah.
He was dominating overseas. Yeah. And we saw the form he was in, and I think what that actually did was give the New Zealand public a bit more respect for his game. I think the same is going to happen with Rico.
Yep.
I think they go overseas and they perform in that comp, and people go, oh, actually, okay, maybe we're a bit too hard on them. So I think he deserved to come back in and get that 12 jersey. He never lost it. He's not been playing poor footy, and he's also been a vice captain. So I understand why he's straight in there.
So the line's 20.5. Give me your predictions for how to play out.
Or the
no,
French?
New Zealand French.
Yeah, I just think this is going to be a statement game for the All Blacks.
Yeah.
I think they're annoyed that France didn't bring their top team. Obviously dangerous, but I also think they're ready to get the ball rolling.
Yep.
And I think they'll do that.
New Zealand win 25 plus here, you reckon?
Is it 20.5?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they win by 20.5, like
They do.
about 23 points. I think it'll be close early, but I think it'll blow out to maybe 40-15 or something.
Yeah. I agree. New Zealand should do a job here. Under the roof too, Dunedin. Always a good vibe down there. All right, that's on Saturday afternoon. The Maori All Blacks, mate, as you mentioned, they're in action against the Scots.
Mouldy. We'll work on rolling your hours.
Yeah, sorry. $1.37. The Scots $3. Obviously, Scotland's it's a weekend side. Where
I
is this?
didn't know many of the Scots.
No, Where is this being played?
I think it's Whangarei,
Okay.
Northland.
Yeah,
It's just above Auckland, by understanding.
Yep. This is probably more your domain than mine. What are you expecting here?
I'm backing the Māori here. I think they've got a pretty good team, and there's a lot of informed Super Rugby players that were probably just on the outer of the All Blacks.
Yeah.
Rivers Reihana.
Yeah.
Thought he was playing outstanding for the Saints at the back end. Who else was in there? Balin Sullivan had great form for the Hurricanes. Zahn Sullivan some great form. They had a good win against Japan on the weekend. Obviously Japan 15, not their top side. So yeah, I'll back the Māori All Blacks here.
There we go. And then Saturday evening, straight after New Zealand France, the Waratahs in action against the Lions. The Waratahs $15, the Lions $1.01. The Lions, the biggest it's been actually, 40.5. The bookies give the Tars no chance here. Taniela Tupou, Kellaway, Fiketti, Jack Bowen will be at 10 for the Tars. Thoughts around this?
Fortress. Tars are good at home.
You reckon they're a chance, mate?
I don't think they win. I think they cover that line.
Yeah, right.
I think 40.5's a little bit disrespectful.
Yeah, okay.
I think the Tars, they have a lot more Wallabies boys in too. I don't think the Reds really had any, did they?
Oh, if you count Jock Campbell and stuff who's played with the Wallabies, like current.
Released from the squad.
Hunter Fessler.
Yeah, that was it. Whereas I think Taniela's going to be in for a big performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Lions get it done. Have the Lions named their team yet?
Yeah, so Mitchell and Smith are at 9 and 10. It's a Tuipulotu-Jones combination in 12-13. Kinghorn gets a crack on the wing.
Yep.
I think Atoje is being rested.
Yeah, I don't think their best team will be going after. I think their best team played on Wednesday or close to.
Close to, yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to back the Tars to cover the line here. Lions still to win.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking like 32-15 or maybe and like a late try to Lions to make it that score.
I reckon Kellaway will be keen for a big one too.
Callaway's another one.
Yeah.
For Kitty.
Yep.
Joey Walton, I thought was had a great season.
You got Darby on the wing, Lancaster. He's on the out, isn't he? Isn't he been flicked?
From the Wallabies.
Well, the Waratahs. I'm pretty sure he's going. He's out with the club because they signed Harry Potter. The Waratahs.
Waratahs signed Harry Potter.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so straight in there. Yeah, I actually reckon the Lions will spank him again. I have no faith in the Waratahs.
You don't?
No, I don't know. I hope they go all right, but yeah, I think it'll be a tough showing. Then we'll go. We won't touch on this too much because we're going to do a deep dive on Sunday, the pre-game. But Australia $1.11, Fiji $6. The Lions 15.5. As it stands now, the team's going to be announced in about an hour's time. But what do you expect to see?
Like selection-wise? I think backline-wise, they'll go... I think they might start Tate in this first test.
Yeah, I think Jake's got an injury.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I reckon they'll go Tate, Noah. They'll go Lena Cattell and Suoli'i in the midfield because the only two midfielders that Hunter played. So.
Yeah.
I think Harry Potter will get a crack.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think it'll be him and Filippo on the wings. I think they're going to look at big wingers to help them get over that gain line, as I discussed before.
Yeah.
And I think Tom Wright's obviously a fullback.
Yeah. Two looking side. Will Skelton's out and Rob Valentini, so you lose a lot of size that. So who gets it? Oh, Langan Gleeson probably gets a crack. I'd say at the 8.
No, he'll go to 6.
Oh, Wilson at 8?
Harry Wilson will be 8.
Yeah.
I think Fraser McWright will get the nod at 7 with Tizano off the bench.
Yep.
Or those two might be swapped.
Yeah.
The one of those two will start.
Jeremy Williams and Nick Frost in the locks.
Yeah.
I'd say. And
Front
then
rows. I think you got to go. You got Bell.
Yeah, I think Parecki gets a crack.
Parecki will get the crack at hooker, and then they'll start Alatoa. But yeah, I think they'll start Alatoa. Zane off the bench.
Yeah. Okay. Good side. Happy.
Yeah, I think it is a good side, but I don't think that's their test side.
No.
I think some boys may have been sent back that haven't had many minutes.
Yeah.
Fezler hasn't had many minutes this year because he's been injured. Nella probably just needs to play as much footy as he possibly can to be a genuine option at that tight head. So, it'll be interesting. Jorgensen's the other one.
Oh, yeah. I actually going to be Jorgensen on the wing instead of Dagunu. Do you think?
He just hasn't played since
that's why.
round 6.
Yeah. But if he doesn't play for the Waratahs this weekend, you think he would have been released for that if he wasn't playing?
I think he'll come off the bench. He might be on minute restrictions.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there we go. I haven't seen a Fiji team or anything. I have no idea what that's going to be like. But
never do. It depends who's released and who's not.
Yeah. And we'll get into it on Sunday, so we won't dive into that too much. But you'd think Australia should win by 20 plus here. Do you think, Tyler?
Yeah.
Like they should.
Yeah, we'll talk about it more on Sunday.
Yeah.
Once I see teams, I'll be able to give you a bit more.
Yeah, we'll deep dive on Sunday, so tune in live from 1 p.m. on YouTube. There is other test matches going around. I'll just sort of rattle through these. Japan and the Welsh.
Yeah, that's an interesting one because the Welsh team isn't that depleted and started to find some form.
Yeah.
I'll back the Welsh there.
Yeah, I'll join you. The Saffers and the Azuri.
I think South Africa will name like a second side, and I think they'll still pump them.
Georgia, Ireland. Ireland still had the cattle here.
Yeah, I think Ireland just got a lot more depth.
Yeah.
Georgia's scrum will be interesting to watch, and big fan of their fullback still. I think he's been playing great in the French top 14. Navajili.
Oh, yeah.
Very good footballer.
Yeah, he's electric. Argentina and England.
Argie.
Yeah, I think so. They're looking good, eh? Well, so this counts. If you're playing for England on the weekend, you make your debut, it counts as a cap.
Yeah.
Like, you'd be stoked.
You get your £20,000.
Yeah, what's that they get?
Pretty sure per game.
Yeah, right. And like for Ireland, obviously half the teams in the Lions, you get your debut, you'd be stoked.
Yeah, and that one test cap,
yeah,
you can never take away.
No, it counts. Bloody oath. How good. There we go. So plenty of rugby going on the international front. QPR, mate. UQ last week, dominant win from the boys. you guys have played great.
Yeah, it's just I think the big first 30 minutes was probably the best 30 minutes we've played all year.
Yep.
Things sort of went our way. We were able to hold on to the ball, got a few calls, and the Piggies stepped up. I think they scored 5 of our 6 tries.
Yeah, the rolling maul was going good.
Yeah, they had 2 of those, and we kind of just stuck with it. Got in the washing machine, as the Brumbies would say.
There we go.
And things sort of just ticked over and got some points. And, we were able to sort of, I guess, weather the UQ fight back. And, they got a couple on us later on, but we were able to sort of stop them getting that momentum to sort of fight their way back into the game and came away with points when we needed to.
And always a fun one to win, the varsity battle, I find.
Yeah, VC was stoked,
Yeah.
as you could imagine.
Yeah.
Bit of a funny rivalry between those two, obviously.
Yeah, 100%. And it's more of a corporate rivalry, I think, as well.
Oh, 100%. Like, don't get me wrong, we love like the Battle of the Nerds or Battle of Scholars, whatever you want to call it, Battle of the Students. And, it's a great chance to go up. But I think the rivalry is more between
I think he loves
VCs.
to win that. Yeah. Absolutely. As do I. So good to see the boys get that one done. But big on this weekend, probably the most important game. We're at 5th at the moment.
Yeah.
And just trying to bridge that gap against the South Magpies up there tomorrow.
Yeah, very tough game. It always is a tough game.
Yeah.
For me, it's obviously a bit more personal because of Cohen.
Yeah, it's fun.
So we like
against the
getting a
boys.
bit of bragging rights against each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be a tough ask to go up there and do a job. They're obviously a quality side and a side that played finals footy. And, we don't get this one right. We're probably looking a little bit outside looking in and needing things to go our way. So big opportunity for us to sort of keep our season on the right track. And sort of just keep moving forward from there.
So all the big matchups around the ground, UQ and East. You think East continue the run here?
How can UQ do it?
Really? Is that home too? Is that St. Lucia?
Yeah. I think UQ will be very disappointed at their performance against us.
Back at home, normally a bit of a correction.
That'd be my one upset for the week.
Okay. Norths and Sunnybank. I don't even know. What is the upset here? I don't even know who will be favourite. Probably Norths?
North's favourite, easily. I don't think any Reds boys are being released across the comp.
For now, or this weekend?
This weekend.
Oh, true.
That played.
Oh, yeah.
So,
That's a good call.
I'm going to back the bank.
Yeah, I was going to join you.
I think they've just been slaving away. Oh, I don't want to go against Norths either, though, because they've been good as well. No, I had a few beers with Junior the other week, so...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll back the bank as well. They can score some tries, that side. And then the final one, grand final rematch, mate. West and Brothers live on 9 Gem. I'll be calling this one, which will be fun. What do you reckon? West is looking real sharp.
I think West are on a roll.
Yeah.
I don't know what their team looks like, though. I know they got a few boys that got to go back to NPC very soon.
I've heard that chat. Is that like how many are we talking here?
I know like 2 or 3, I think.
Okay. Still enough to affect a little bit.
Yeah. Back West there.
Yeah.
I think they're just on a roll at the moment and scoring tries at will. Glenn Viu's in great form.
Yeah, so looking at the teams now. Sorovi's at 9. Navas Langi. Drolsessi's back at fullback.
Is Glenn gone?
Yeah, actually, he's not named. Oh. Yeah, no Vahu. That's the big...
I won't say where he's gone. I don't think it's been announced yet.
I'm sure we can work it out. And then Brothers, they've got... Jude Gibbs will be at 10. Fusatua's playing good in Union. So, that should be a cracker as well. So, you're going to go West to get it done?
Who's at 12?
Toffa.
Yeah, I back West to get it done.
Yeah, there we go. That should be a good one as well. So, that's us, mate. Little short and sharp weekend preview, plenty coming up. Anything else you want to touch on in your world, mate?
UFC was unreal on the weekend just gone.
Yes.
Taporia, Ilya,
Right.
two weight division champ now. Just knocked out Charles Oliveira.
How'd you go on the punt? Did you have a crack at it?
No, I didn't actually.